Okay, I think we're good. I've been having some trouble with my streaming software lately, and I think I got the problems worked out. There was an update recently, and with that update, some settings that I used to use are different now. I don't know, it's kind of stupid. But welcome everybody, welcome to the stream. I think I just put honey on my desk here, so that's fun. Welcome guys, hope you're doing well. We are going to be continuing the Mannequin sculpt that I have on screen that I started last night on the Pixelogic ZBrush channel. If you guys didn't check that out, that'll be up here soon so you guys can see the kind of first stages of that process. I'll also very quickly load in a couple of the other mannequins that I've done here over the past day or so. I did not stream the process for this guy here, Big Muscle Boy, but I did stream the process yesterday for the grandmotherly blockout. And we are currently working on a tall, lanky boy. This is kind of the still really early stages, but here is Android 17. This is an illustration by Gap over on ArtStation. You can check out a lot of their work. Has some really cool stuff. I really like it, and I wanted to do a blockout of this character. And what we're going to be focusing on today is creating these really clean, not necessarily simple shapes, but I would say as simple as we can get them to represent what we're seeing in our reference. My hands are a little sticky now, so from that honey. But I'll give some time for some people to pop in here, and then I'll start talking a little bit more about specifics as we get into sculpting. So again, focusing on... Oh man, it's a little annoying. Focusing on just simplification of form, trying to get stuff that's really clean. We're going to be focusing on stuff like tapered shapes, which we can see flowing through here in this large triangular silhouette there, kind of going down the body all the way down there. So tapered shapes, we'll be talking about, thick to thin, straights versus curves, simple versus complex, lines of action, all these good things, and we're going to do that all while sculpting Captain Lanky here. Let me make sure I have my undo history set up. Cool. Alright, let's jump in. So the last thing that I did before ending the stream last night was fixing the legs and the pants. If we look at the concept, he's got this high-waisted area here, and because these legs were connected to that, it was really hard to kind of work on this transition between the crotch and the actual pants. I was having a lot of trouble getting into here, and I just decided to cut off the legs temporarily, and I'll merge them back down later after I work on this area a little bit more. I find that it's just easier to, if you're having trouble getting into a specific area, just remove it. I mean, it's not like you can't merge them back together later on. Same thing when I'm working on the legs. If I'm having trouble working in on this inner area, I can't really get in here to sculpt, right? One thing that you can do is, let's see, I don't have subdivs, so this should be easier. You can just delete one side, work on that other side as much as you want, and then when you're done, all you have to do is mirror and weld that back over to the other side, and you're good to go. That allows you to get in here and work on that inner edge without worrying about, the other leg getting in the way, which is probably one of the most annoying things to do. That and working with really tight corners is probably two of the most frustrating areas to sculpt. Yes, that is fine. Forgot I messed up something on the arms there. What is going on, guys? Let's see who we got. We got Stang and Craig. How you guys doing? Who's the girl beside 17? That is Android 18. 17 and 18. she's got her little Krillin doll down here. Again, illustration is by Gop Gap. Got some cool stuff. Alright, so like I said, last thing I did was focusing in on the pants, splitting that off, so I'm just gonna play around here a little bit more, and we'll start talking more about specific things that you guys should be looking for as we get into it. I'm gonna open up my reference image on my other monitor, just so I don't have to continually, pop that up while I'm doing this. Let me find where I saved that. There we go. I'm doing great, Craig. Thanks for asking, man. What have you been up to lately? Been working on anything fun? I have honey all over the bottom of this cup, and it's getting everywhere. That's how my day's going. Sticky. Getting honey everywhere. Yeah, so pants, let's just kind of do a quick overview pass on everything, just so we can make sure everything's around the same level of finish. I need quite a bit more of an angle here. Down, and I think I really need to exaggerate this guy's shoulders and actually widen them quite a bit more than what I have. And really kind of push that. He's kind of got that kind of like, I don't know, I see it a lot in cowboys, like skinny cowboy characters. Just this lackadaisical, almost leaning back kind of nature in their pose, and just in the character in general. So we'll try to get some of that in there. And I'm doing the block out of the body with the shirt on. We could do a body underneath this piece of geometry if we wanted. I think I'm just gonna, block out what I can see, so we don't have to waste time designing a body for this guy. Wrong brush. Happens more than I would like to admit. I'm going to leave perspective off for a lot of this. Let's see. So there is this really interesting secondary form happening through here. I'm just going to start etching in very roughly with my damn standard brush and try to carry this all the way through. So we go from a straight down to a flat onto the shoulder, so it's kind of almost like two separate shapes. And I could probably represent this in two shapes, two separate pieces of geometry better than one. I'm thinking that a really good way to create this and get it to conform to the body would just be to do an extraction. So I actually might hold off on making that until we have the body a little bit closer to what we want. I think that sounds like a good idea. So for something like this, I'm just gonna pull this straight down. Do I use Z-spheres for blocking out? Often. No, I never use Z-spheres for anything, ever. Z-spheres are an old, outdated method. That is my opinion. You can use them if you want. I don't think there's any harm in using them if you've been using them for a long time. I think there are a lot better ways to block stuff out now. I still know professionals that use them, but I don't like using them. I can't think of a single beneficial reason to use them over just geometry. Juan Franco, welcome back. How you doing? Got much messier than I wanted. It's alright. More so what I was looking for here. The beginnings of our scarf, finally. Alright, so the idea here is to represent this in two separate forms. This first half, and then where that folds, I'll extract that out from the body once I am a little bit happier with the shape and the body that we have. But for now, I'm just going to leave this piece of geometry. If anything, I'll maybe inflate this a little bit. And that'll be all. Oh no. I do not understand. I got honey like everywhere on this thing. Making a mess. Alright, so I want to work on the body a little bit here. Just because the shape flowing into the shoulders doesn't look super great. And this area isn't proportionally where I need it to be. If I were to kind of line this up with the body a little bit, even though we don't have perspective, you can just see that this needs to be quite a bit larger to fit that arm. And it's really hard to, I would be careful trying to line stuff up with something that's in pose. You're gonna have to use your eye a lot and just kind of figure it out. Sometimes doing some drawovers can be very helpful. I recommend that. But other than that, if you keep lining stuff up in pose, or if the camera has perspective and you don't have the perspective that can match that perfectly, you're gonna probably go a little insane because you're not gonna be able to line all that stuff up exactly the way you need to. I'm going to go into Transpose Master for a moment. Because even with perspective here, I want to try making our pants a little bit more narrow. And doing the same up here for the body. And if we look at the shape, you can see on the back how it has that convex curve. Definitely something we want to get in. Some more volume back here, adding to that convexity. kind of a billowy nature to this shirt, especially as it gets down towards the pants, like tucked in, and then it's got all these ruffles or folds coming out from there. You know what? We're gonna take this and just put this over here for now so that you guys can see what we're looking at. For Android 17. During this stage, I've mentioned this before, you know, you really want to get in there and, you know, push forward on certain things like the face and start getting into some of those secondary forms. Don't rush it. Just really, really take your time. Try to fight yourself a little bit so that you're not rushing ahead. Try to take it slow, get everything in that we need. There's a lot that we need to do, even from this point, to really get this up to a block out that we could consider, you know, appealing enough to where we would want to move forward. Man, it's so hard to talk about this stuff because I see so many people that, you know, rush ahead on their work, and I'm like, I don't know, you can talk about it all day, but until you really get in and experience it yourself, I feel like talking about it really doesn't do much justice to how much actual time this kind of stuff takes. You know, for a realistic character, I don't know, you might be able to push forward on out of the blockout stage a little bit faster. I definitely have in the past. I just really like obsessing over those nice, clean, and appealing shapes. And I hope that is, you know, I hope that comes through in the end. I hope it's obvious. I think it is. I think, you know, a lot of that stuff comes through towards the end once you start getting into those secondary forms and, you know, that last little 10% as well. But, you know, if you don't put enough time into those primary big shapes, well then nothing you do after that matters. Somebody said in chat last night, you can't polish a turd. And that's I don't remember who said that, but that's absolutely true. That's pretty much the gist of what I'm doing here, what I'm trying to get across. You can't polish a turd. Need to finish my tea so I can stop picking it up, stop getting all sticky. By the way, the golden retriever with the Christmas or Santa hat that we were working on yesterday, I'll have hopefully a print of that finished within the next 2 weeks. 14, 19, about 2 weeks from now I should be receiving that, and I'll show it off on stream here. But I got the file all ready. If you guys saw the stream yesterday, we were working on this mannequin, the old lady, and when we were working on that, in between going back and forth, we were also working on preparing the golden retriever that I sculpted for printing through Shapeways for full color SLS sandstone, which is one of my favorite materials to work with. I have a ton of those on my desk. The Pikachu, Totoro, and all these guys that I always show off. I accidentally dropped I have Banjo and Kazooie in the style of like Angry Birds or something. I accidentally dropped Kazooie. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. It's really small, I'm sure, but the tip of one of the hair strands there chipped off a little bit, which made me sad for like 5 seconds, and then I was like, it's not even really noticeable. But I'll have a print of the doggo. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks or so is when they said it would arrive. Sometimes it's a little bit longer, and I'm guessing because it's the Christmas season that They're kind of overloaded with orders, so it'll probably take even longer. But I'll try to be patient and wait for it. So we're in transpose. What all else did I want to do in here? I was kind of just doing a once over, looking through everything. I really wanted to do some stuff here on the shirt and focus on figuring out these shapes. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and start building up some of the volumes that I am seeing down here, even though they're, you know, going to be really rough at this stage, especially when this is just low poly. I just want to start getting some of this volume in here that I'm seeing breaking up the silhouette. So it might be better to just mask off that bottom area and start pulling that out with a move brush. We can really see how much that breaks the silhouette from the outside. Definitely getting a lot more of the weight on the bottom portion of that, so gravity is definitely taking effect there. So we'll want to represent that nicely. Pull that out with our move brush. And just try to get that out a little bit more on that bottom edge. And then what we'll do is so looking at this from the side, we want a little bit more of what we're seeing on the front, where we're getting this swoop down, and then a little bit of a swoop back in to tuck in. So this is where the pant line would be. So we're getting a little bit of this swoop in there. So swoop out and back in with most of the weight happening towards that bottom edge. I'm gonna hop out of T-pose just because I don't need, but I would like these sub-divs with this shirt to work with it. It's gonna be a little bit easier. Let's go around it with a pinch brush and just figure out where I want that edge to turn. I'm gonna make this straight across at first, but then we'll add more form to it later. And there's also this shape that I somewhat blocked out before. As it turns back, we'll get that in. Here. Make sure this is flowing nicely down. I just want to make sure that this is tapering roughly into the pants. So that we're not getting that awkward edge there. Go back to ZRemesh. A little bit too much volume up here in the chest, I'm thinking. I want this plane break to happen a little bit lower. A little bit of a break here. I'm just kind of blocking out what would be happening with the body underneath, so I can figure out where I want some of these forms to start changing direction in the silhouette. In the back, following that rib line, flowing back here. And obviously, these are going to be a lot softer. Let's turn these arms off for a moment. So if I rotate around and we look at my silhouette, we're getting this curve this way, right? But if we look at this guy, you're definitely getting that silhouette shape. Definitely getting a convex versus our concave. So I need to really come in here and bulk that up. Try to get some more volume through here. It's difficult to read this stuff when you're translating things into 3D, but One of the things that really helps me is just focusing in on that silhouette to figure out the shapes. Even though he's wearing a shirt, you know, I still want to be very specific with the folds and the overall larger shapes that are happening here if I want to represent this character accurately compared to the illustration. Or else it's not going to feel like the same art style or the same character. Kind of a 1-2 kind of point here. Definitely a more complex character than the last two. We'll probably take a little bit more time on this. That's okay. More time sculpting, more time having fun. So I split that bottom portion of the shirt off just because I really wanted to work on this basic shape at first. Now I can maybe start thinking about that secondary form a little bit down here as we tuck into the pants. And actually for these pants I should probably pull out this top edge a little bit because it's starting to curve in a little bit. A little bit more than we want. Tell me what's going on. How you doing? I picked this up and the whole paper towel and coaster come with it. All that honey. Nothing like chugging down some cold tea. Always so hard to get that curve on that inner leg to read correctly as it comes up into the crotch. You have to start to get like this ever so slight curve back on itself. Well, for this particular shape. Not always. It's not like an absolute or anything. trying to infer what I can based on what I'm seeing here for the character in the front and based on its silhouette, just to get as much information as I can about what the back is going to look like here. And just based off of experience of sculpting similar stuff in the past. Similar styled characters. I want to make sure I'm not getting too thin there. Still feeling like this is maybe too wide. It's been feeling a little awkward to me. I'm just kind of experimenting and playing around with the shape a little bit, playing around with the silhouette, trying to find something that feels a little bit closer there. Just trying to round this out some more, get it to have more of that billowy effect. I'm getting there. A little bit more tweaking here. Definitely has the correct feel to it, it's just not the exact shape that we want to see. So definitely doing this kind of one step at a time. Want to get the billowy shape first, and then we can maybe start getting, you know, some of those secondary forms that we're seeing wrapping around. We'll be blending that into the shirt as well. Let's see. Still feeling like we're leaning a little bit too far back. So let's adjust that. What's going on, Hud Boy? How you doing? How goes the work? And everybody else that's joining us. How's your day going, guys? It is the hump day. Hooray! Time to get lots done so that the rest of the week we can chill out. Which never really happens. But it's nice to think that way, isn't it? I think the pose was kind of throwing me off for the width of the shoulders. And maybe they do need to be even wider. It's kind of hard for me to tell right now. Press F if you think the shoulders should be wider. Let me play with it some more. Like I said, I was just kind of doing a lot of experimenting in the chest. This is kind of all messed up. So let's clean this up and make this easier to work with. Let's see, here. Oh boy. That's a mess. That silhouette's all over the place. So if you continue to Z-remesh the same piece of geometry over and over, what ends up happening is you lose more and more of the form, and then eventually it just doesn't look like what it started out as. As long as you Z-remesh and get those subdivs or project back in, or Dynamesh, one of those three, you probably won't lose most of the form. I'm actually trying to lose some of the form so that I can just kind of get rid of that warble that we were seeing in our silhouette. Get it a little bit nicer and cleaner, and then go from there. Toggle off just the arms, and then for the sleeves here, what do we want to do? The work's going well? Awesome, man. Things are good over here. My throat's just a little bit sore, which is why I'm not talking as much as I normally do. Which is a nice break for all of us. Doing a quick proxy merge on the sleeve so that I can just figure out this shape a little bit better. What's going on, Bates? Thank you for the follow, I appreciate it. Hope you're having a good day. I might actually keep this. Literally the only reason I'm merging these two things together is because this top one had my subdivision history, and I want the subdivision history for a time lapse later. Can't lose that. It's gonna cause some weird artifacting, but that's okay. Alright, so I wanted to come through and get that top edge and then that secondary kind of negative. Let's see. Very distinct shape in the silhouette. This 1, 2 coming down off the shoulder. Kim Supremacy. Nice name. Welcome. Sounds like the... What is it? The Born Supremacy? Born Ultimatum? The Kim Supremacy? Fuzzy Bright, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. Matthew, how you doing, dude? How goes the sculpting? Do I use Z-spheres? I don't. I do not use Z-spheres. I don't like Z-spheres. Probably the closest version I've gotten so far to that shape. I've been meaning to tune in learning ZBrush, and you have some good YouTube vids. Followed you here. Awesome. Well, welcome. Hopefully they've been helpful for you. Trying to find the best way to build up your creature, but you haven't really found it. Well, that's exactly what we've been doing. I mentioned this yesterday as well. It's kind of using primitive shapes to block out your characters, create your base mannequin, and then from there, after you have everything nice and cleaned up and ready to move forward, go maybe even an extra hour on it to try, pushing those shapes a little bit further. And then start building up those secondary forms, start sculpting your face, all that jazz. I think I'm just gonna close off this sleeve because it's kind of hard to work with this shape with this open face. Didn't mean to use that brush, but alright, that's fine. We'll make that work. got like a padded shoulder feel almost, like that you would see in a jacket. Stuck on ZBrush Core, so I lack a lot of the features, but gleaning some approaches to Sculpt, at least. Awesome. What's going on, Engine? Matthew says, when do you fuse them together? With Dynamesh? So if you want to see the full process, I would recommend going over to my YouTube channel. I have a crap ton of playlists and videos going through the entire process. Here's the Great Prince of the Forest, Bambi's dad, this character here. I sculpted the entire thing on my stream. I sculpted a lot of the things that you can see here on my stream. Exact same process for all of them. Start off blocking out the shapes. Actually, here. I released a video here recently. Where is it? My complete stylized character sculpting process in 2 hours. And go through the whole process from block out, more blocking out, starting to work on secondary forms, combining stuff. Here, I'll bigamize this for you guys. Abrahart, welcome and thank you for the follow there. Just going through the whole process, 2 hours long. Here's the link. Paste it in chat. Check it out, Matthew. I think that'll help you out a lot. Shush. Shush me. I always have to mute myself. If you're looking for more of a step-by-step guide, there's also, of course, my Gumroad, which has the higher quality stuff. Obviously, it costs money, though. I put a lot more work into that, into those videos. I also have a new course that I'm working on, a new class, actually. I'm really excited about. I'll have more info on that, probably closer to the new year. And I'm excited. And he's got this stupid lean back thing going on, and it's messing with my head for the way I want to shape this. If you look at this curve, the way that swoops through there, it's a concavity. It's just not how I think this is actually shaped here. You can try it though for a little bit. Alright, T-pose again. Realign some stuff. Body. So, from what I'm seeing in the reference, he actually has like a little sweep forward in this shirt, but it doesn't really... doesn't feel super great, in my opinion. In 3D. Oh no! Well, that sucks. I used the move brush again. The most common brush. Gotta get those crashes out of the way early. I'm grabbing the ZBrush project because this will retrieve my undos. I am hoping that it will retrieve all of them. It's not always the case though. Also, it's retrieving each undo for each subtool, so it will take a moment. I needed to delete all these recovered files, so many of them. Alright, let's see. Cool. Actually, I'm just gonna leave that up, yeah. Alright, let's figure this out. Been playing around with this shirt for a while, experimenting, trying some new things. Trying to figure out this shape, exactly what I want to do with it. I think we just want to get more of that sweep forward that we're seeing. A little bit more like that, yeah. Black is never a good color for reading forms. It's always tough to see what's going on. Luckily, I can see some of the silhouette here, so I can read a little bit of this extra info here. We're definitely, you know, more convex on the outer edge and towards the back, which is what we want. And through the front, from what I can tell, it looks like we're getting a little bit more of a concave wrap here, all the way up to the shoulder, which actually tells me that this is not as much of a plane change as I have in place. It just means that this is all wrapping a little bit more evenly through there. Let's see. We're going to focus somewhere else for a little bit too, so I can get away from the shirt. Figuring out some quick measurements here. Just kind of eyeballing stuff. Yeah, he's definitely getting quite a bit of lean back there. And I think that's mainly what's kind of messing with my head is this pose. And I need to either just kind of push him back really far and start getting that lean, or I just need to not worry about it for now. I'm going to choose to not worry about it for now, and then once we get a little bit further along, we'll start getting a little bit of that lean back that he's got going on here. Like I said, when you're trying to, and that's kind of why I stopped lining this up with the image, is because he is posed. It's not like in a neutral like what we would be doing right now for the block out. So it's a lot more difficult to figure out those shapes. Also, that forearm comes down to maybe a little bit lower. Got some long arms, that's for sure. At least this feels a little bit better up towards the shoulder area. We'll play with that a little bit more in a moment. Just gonna do one side of this, then I'll do the other just through a mirror and weld. Make sure that I'm getting a good connection between that midpoint. Try to retain that form with ZRemesh, keep groups on, see what we get, and continue shaping up some of this stuff. Let's focus on the pantaloons for a little bit. There's some nice separations. Clean this up. Try that again. Hopefully get that a little bit more clean. If that's not working, I can try some Z-Remesher guides. I just want to get an edge loop through here that's going to help retain that shape a little bit better. More so like that. It's a little bit crazy here in the butt. I'll just kind of deal with this though. Just sculpt that out. Pretty annoying topology, but we will make it work. Alright. So, back of the leg, I want more of a straight all the way up into the butt. And then for the front of the leg, I want quite a bit more of that curve, which we have in there, but I might exaggerate quite a bit of what we're seeing, especially if we were to pose this. Looks like these legs are pretty dang curvy, so I want to get some more of that in there. If we look at the silhouette here, it looks like it kind of starts a little wider and then tapers down into the knee. So we can try to get some of that in there as well. Let's see. I'm just trying to get this nice flowing curve right here. Starting to lose some of that form as we look at this from the profile. Just trying to retain that curve all the way up through the entire shape. Our topology isn't really doing us too many favors around there, so I'm considering just getting rid of that. We're also losing quite a bit of volume through here. Kook and Milk, what's going on, dude? Welcome back. Give him more of a bulge. Awesome. Finished. You are finished watching the tutorial on Gumroad. I love what you're doing with the polygroup stuff. Cool. Thanks, man. Hopefully it's been helpful for you. You can get a similar effect with ZBrush guides. I've mentioned this before, but you don't end up getting the polygroups for selections later on. You don't get those added benefits. ZBrush guides is pretty equivalent, I would say, in terms of effectiveness, and if you use them in combination, you can often get even better results. But I don't know, ZBrush guides just takes a little bit longer to do. It's not typically worth it, in my opinion, unless for something like this, because the topology was so terrible up there. I would probably consider redoing some of that. Try to get some nicer topology, just so it's easier to sculpt. His legs definitely have like this kind of general outward sweep to them. It's like a 1, 2. Oops. I'm going to give him a little bit of a wider stance as well. I think that'll help. Let's see. I could do this in T-pose, maybe a little bit faster, but I'll just kind of push and pull some stuff real quick. I like to keep my legs straight sometimes just because they're a little bit easier to sculpt certain forms and figure some things out. But, you know, at this point, might as well. Clippa looks good. So pro. Thanks, man. Cougar Milk says, like my edge loops a certain way, and then after Z-remeshing, Z-model it to get some... Yeah. That's the basic process that I typically do. Always temporary, but your sculpts are hella clean. Yeah, I mean, that's the entire point. Get some topology that you can work with. That's why I do it. In terms of proportions, making sure we don't want to increase the size of anything too much here. Started to lose some of this volume through here. If we can get some of that back, that would be cool. Keep more of a straight on the back edge. Got a lot more volume up here. Problem is, as I do this, I don't want this to, you know, feel like it's dipping in too much towards the connection point, towards the leg and the crotch there. Leg and the hips, whatever you want to call it. I want this shape to flow a lot more freely up through here. Bertram, thank you for the follow and welcome to the stream. How you doing, Bertram? You just bought an Ender 3 3D printer. What will be a good beginner 3D tool. Probably something like Blender. It's free and there's a ton of tutorials online and it's a great tool for something that is free. It's got a lot of features that I would not expect a free tool to have. Full modeling package, rendering, texturing, UVs, animation, sculpting tools as well. It's got the whole thing. Why am I getting this awkward edge loop there? I'm not sure what's going on. Might use, there we go. See, look. Sometimes you just gotta force ZBrush to do what you want. That was really weird though. I was thinking about putting a bevel in here. I don't know. Just to like retain that creased. Wait, did that not even put it? That was weird. Yeah. And then I'll smooth it out towards the top there. Let's just leave it. Felt like you missed Mike's stream. I don't know who Mike is. Michael Pavlovich, maybe? It's the only Mike ZBrusher that I know. Lost 1 or 2 days last week? What does that even mean? Oh, that's how you feel? Nyan Cat in the background? No. This is Pop Sky. Popskyy. Got a lot of chiptune music, does some remixes of old video game stuff. Really cool dude. He streams, I think, but all of his music is free, and he allows people to use it for streams and videos. And it's just kind of cool chill out music. But I've been using the same playlist for a while, so I'm thinking soon here we'll be switching it up. I feel like the legs get a little too thick in the back, like just from here, from the profile. And a little bit of just rotate in. I kind of want to just manually start putting in a little bit more of that curve that I'm seeing through a lot of this. This character is just kind of all over the place. Spreading out those legs did help me figure out some of these forms a lot easier though. We're definitely getting, and this is a common thing that I do when I'm sculpting legs, I get a little bit too thin down here, or not thin, but flat. I just need to round some of this back out. Clippa, thank you for the follow. Sounds like Clippa just got a 3D printer based on what they were saying. Sounds like fun. An Ender 3, was it? That'd be cool. Sounds like maybe the first printer. I've never used an Ender FDM printer. I believe they only make FDM. But I know that they're pretty popular. I think they're pretty pretty cheap in price for what you get in quality, from what I've seen. If I'm thinking of the correct machine. Open bed. I prefer these kinds of printers where it's just literally everything you need, feeder, extruder, bed, like material go. But very cool. How big is this? What is the build volume on this? I would click on the ad for their website, but for some reason, ads haven't been working for me. Like the top paid link ad that they always have. I don't know where it is. I just wanted to see how big this was. That's pretty big for that price point. I'd love to see what some of the prints look like. If you end up printing something here soon, Clippa, definitely share it in the chat on stream here. I'd love to check out what you got. I don't know if you've done any test prints or anything yet, but I'd love to see it. If you want to upload something to Imgur and just share a link or something like that. So jealous. Well, you can get a very cheap FDM printer, Kook and Milk. You don't need to, sacrifice your firstborn or anything to get a FDM machine these days. Pretty cheap. And if you go to MakeShaper, MakeShaper has some really, really high quality, inexpensive filament. I love me some MakeShaper. Bought it just yesterday, so not yet. Well, once you get around to it, I'd love to check them out. Or anybody else that's printing anything. I'd love to see what kind of cool stuff you're printing. Still losing a little bit of that curve up here. Want to make sure that that's nice and flowing all the way down. There's a little bit of a concavity that we're starting to see through there, so it's very important that I pay attention to this from every single angle, make sure it reads as the same shape as I rotate around. And it definitely is reading that way a lot more now. So those legs are feeling a lot nicer to me after those tweaks. But from here, let's see. I think I'm going to go take a quick restroom break because this tea has destroyed me, and also try to clean up some of the honey that I spilled everywhere, which was a lot of fun. But I will be right back with more sculpting on this blockout character in just a little bit. Quick bathroom break. Everybody else get up, stretch it out. It's good to make sure you don't get any blood clots or anything in your legs. So, thank you, Beefcake, for the follow there. I'll be right back, guys, in like 5 minutes. I'm also going to fill up my water and some stuff. But yes, 5 minutes. Be our bet. well, you're feeling this song. What is it? This is, I don't know if it's this one or the last one, Absoluta, Pop Sky. All the music here is by Pop Sky in this playlist. Let's get back to working on our character blockout. What's going on, guys? What up, Nuclear? Welcome back. And everybody else that's joining us. How you guys doing? Anybody working on anything cool today? We're working on one of a few blockouts that I've done here recently, just to kind of go back and look at some of the other character blockouts that I've done. A big muscle boy, and put him over here real quick. An older lady. And now we're working on lanky boy. A little bit more complex than some of the others. A little bit more goes into them. But we just spent a long time working on the legs, really cleaning up just a ton of stuff in there, making sure that we're getting a shape that's reading well from all angles. I'm sure I will be doing more, especially now that I'm looking around here in the knee. It starts to get a little bit more pinched in than I would probably want. I'll probably try to get some more volume in there. It doesn't look bad though, you know, it's not a terrible shape. Nice and clean, looking good, but we do want to make that as close to the concept up here as possible. And right now it's just feeling a little bit more pinched in than what I'm seeing there. We're going to continue on here though. The entire objective of this is not to create the complete character, but to create a really nice mannequin of that character. And I would be doing the same process in the beginning stages for if I was going to create this entire character. I would start off with the same block out phase. I was showing off that video earlier where I don't have it pulled up anymore, but where I was going through sculpting this guy. Starts off the same way, you know, blocking out each individual shape, making sure that it's nice and clean, and then eventually getting up to something that's more finished. But we're going to be stopping probably around the same stage as like these guys. Just making sure that we're getting, you know, really nice connective silhouette lines, all that cool stuff. We'll continue on here in just a second. Both songs, yeah. Just look up Pop Sky. He's got a ton of great music. The only thing I'm going to be printing are resumes for the next while while my course is nearly finished. Awesome. Sounds like fun. Applying for some jobbers. Do you make your own concept designs? Not very often, no. I do a lot of stuff for physical production, so typically it's, hey, here's this thing, make this thing into 3D for us. You make it look easy? Well, I hope not. My objective is not to make it look easy. I try to explain as much as I can. Sorry guys, my throat is a little bit sore today, so I was not talking too much earlier. I'll try to explain a little bit more as I go forward here, but if I do something that, you know, maybe I do a little bit too fast or I don't explain very well, just yell at me. Say, hey, how you do that? I'll try to explain it a little bit better. Let's fix some stuff down here. Beat me up and take my hat. I actually have my hat right here that you want. Amazon sock hat. You can do it, Wyvern. I believe in you. Medical admin. Oh, that's right. Medical administration. Well, good luck with that. Good luck on the job apps and resume printings. It's always fun. I'll open up a hat store just for you, Wyvern. I need these to fit the shape a little bit more. I think I'm maybe tapering my legs more than I need to. So like right around here. Maybe, well, yeah. I was gonna inflate, but I might as well just scale. Try a little bit of scale. It's a little bit of a different movement than deformation inflate. It's getting a little too flat through some of these places. Definitely want to spend a lot more time on this one than we did the last two as well. Try to do it justice. It's an awesome design. Have I been productive? Of course. Always sculpting. .3D modeling is more of a hobby now, until you get some mo money. Mo money, mo problems. Not really, I don't know where this phrase comes from. Seems backwards. Oh, so proud. Proud dad. I'm proud of you guys too. Look at this leg shape coming down, and then look at the angle here for that leg warmer. Like, what is that angle? It looks like the foot just like breaks backwards right there. Looks very odd. Let's see. I think we maybe narrow in just a little bit too much. Whoops. I keep a lot of this stuff really simple. Typically don't even subdivide this. Just get a simple, clean shape. We're not getting the roundness that I wanted, and mainly it's because of this edge here. I might be able to round that out a little bit more. let's figure out these leg warmers real quick. What's the use for the mode with the pins? These? So this is just a dynamic subdivision. If you come down here, you know how you can subdivide your geometry? Control D, Shift D to step up and down. What I'm doing is just pressing the D key on something that's a low poly. Oops, let's undo. So the D hotkey activates your dynamic subdivision level. And these pins are showing you what a dynamic subdiv does is it smooths out your topology as if it were being subdivided, but it's not actually subdivided. So the benefit of that is that you can still poly model on this stuff while pre-visualizing what it would look like if it were to be subdivided later. So you can get an idea of what that'll look like later. The pins are where that geometry actually is. So a dynamic subdivision level is just a pre-visualization. These yellow points that look like pins are saying where that vertice actually is compared to where the previs is. So if I try to move this point here, I can't because it doesn't actually exist. The actual vertice is up here, so you can see where that is. So now I have to move this vert if I want to adjust this shape. So they're not really pins, it's just drawing a line to the vertice where it actually is and where it's smoothed out. D, yeah, it's just the same hotkeys for subdividing, D and Shift D, or for stepping up and down through your subdivision levels. Your ZBrush crashed. Oh no! Welcome to the club. Alright, let's figure out our leg warmers here. See what we need to do. Proportionally, I think I have them about the same length that they are appearing in the concept. If anything, maybe a little bit taller. Let's kind of thin these out. Let's just use our move brush here for a little bit. I'm going to turn off everything and just work on this one little area down here. This will make it easier for us. Let's just move this around. And we definitely want to make this a little bit more narrow. And then have a volume down here at the bottom edge kind of flaring out. Let me just get that most basic shape. Get a little bit of that flare out. Do the same thing up top. Yes, quick save is very handy. It saves you many times on the crashing. Took you 4 hours to understand how some artists do poly modeling with 500,000 points in ZBrush? Yeah, I mean, I have 1.5 total points on the entire character, but I'm on one subtool here, so it doesn't really matter. Pizza time! Nice. I'm gonna take on that homework you mentioned, working with lowest possible resolution on Dynamesh, I think. Nope, not Dynamesh. Has nothing to do with Dynamesh, but it does have to do with working in the lowest resolution possible. Either Dynamesh or ZRemesher. The homework is to just work with low resolution shapes and just try to create something similar to this mannequin or this mannequin. I'm not saying create this character or this character specifically. Try to find a character online that's, you know, a stylized character and try blocking out that character. Stay as low resolution as you can on each subtool, and the thing that I want you to focus on is just creating big plane changes, big shapes, big forms. Don't worry about any kind of secondary detail. Don't add anything that does not affect the silhouette in some way. So keep those brushes big, stick with that move brush a lot. Either keep that Dynamesh resolution really low or keep your ZRemesh resolution very low. Try to make a mannequin. Oh, and then try to spend like at least 3 hours on that mannequin. This is some homework that I was dishing out the other day. This is class. Gotta start dishing out more homeworks. Focus on the silhouette. Yeah, that's the only important thing in that blackout phase, or the most important thing. Good clean shapes, focus on silhouette. Thank you, Dad. Daddy gone. Or Sensei gone. Here to dish out homework and chores. I have a chore wheel or chore board. Make sure everybody does their homework. Dish out golden stars. Alright, I think this extra form change here is a little unnecessary, so I'm just going to get rid of that. Flow that all the way down here to the bottom. Get a tighter bevel here. And this kind of like, it's like a little tighter in the front than it looks like it is elsewhere. I don't know. Might just be because of the pose and they're shaped differently. It's probably more so it than anything else. You'll be back to annoy more later. No, you're not. You're not annoying. You're good. Don't worry. Questions are not annoying. I encourage questions. How else are you gonna get homework? Well, we do the Saturday critiques. So if you guys want to get something critiqued live here on stream, all you have to do is shoot it my way, follygon@gmail.com. Here. I should include this in one of those things down below. What are those things called? Columns? Sure, let's go with that. Should make a column for critiques. So every Saturday we do critiques here on the stream. If you guys want to get your stuff critiqued live on stream, all you have to do is shoot me an email, which I just linked in chat for you guys, and send me a ZTool file. And just include as much information about the project and what you're working on and what you want me to critique specifically as you can. Try to be as specific as you can. The more information you give me, the better off the critique will be. The easier it will be for me to critique your stuff. Please don't send me something and just say, hey, what you think? That doesn't make for a productive critique for you. And I don't, you know, what do you want me to do? Just say, looks bad. Looks bad, try again. I think maybe we got a little too tight down here with that crease. I don't know though. It's more so this bottom edge that's bothering me. I think I'm going to give this the same treatment as up top. Trying to get these to interact a little bit nicer, make a little bit more visual sense here. Let's kind of grow this out. Move all those edges at once. Take a look here, see how that's all working together with our legs and everything else. Just seeing some inconsistencies in the silhouette here. Trying to fix a few of them. Alright, I think our legs have gotten maybe a little bit thicker than they need to. I don't know, I kind of like the look of the fatter legs, but we might be changing that later. I'm gonna make this a little longer as well. And just take a look around, see what we've got. It's been a minute since we messed up here with the shirt. I feel like kind of seeing this taper even more up here. Be even more thin. Let's try it out. So there's definitely this concavity on the silhouette here. It's more so just the shape flowing into the kind of billowing shirt here. So let's try to focus on that a little bit. I tried to get some of this in a little bit earlier. It's proving a little difficult. I'll try to play with it some more here. Kind of getting some more volume through some of these areas. I'm fine with it getting a little messy. I just need to kind of just start figuring some of this out. I think we're getting quite a bit more volume down here. We could maybe try something like the inflate. I don't like using the inflate too much when I'm sculpting. Just kind of prefer the clay tubes. Inflate's not a bad brush, it's just typically not as easy for me to control what's going on. Keeping this dirty while I figure out this volume a little bit better. I don't think we're super far off, I just think it's enough to cause some visual discrepancies between what I'm seeing in terms of the that major concavity flowing down. I could try like really exaggerating that a little bit. Typically, I'll try to exaggerate stuff in such a way to like really push the form in one direction and then push it a little bit too far, just because for me it's easier to push something a little bit further than it needs to go. And then it's easier to bring it back than it would be to just sit here and, you know, is that good? Is that good? Is that good? Instead, just, you know, let's pull this out really far, Alright, that's obviously way too much, and now let's kind of start trimming that back and bring it back to where we need. Excited to see how you do wrinkles? A lot of the time, I'll just do something like a dam standard or sharp soft brush. I don't know if we're gonna do wrinkles on this too much, like to an extreme. So we're not sculpting the entire character. What we're focusing on is creating a mannequin or a block out, much like this guy here. I'm taking this one a little bit further, so we'll probably get some kind of like secondary forms in there. Probably not a ton of like heavy wrinkles or anything, but this is pretty much the process. You know, you can use a pinch brush and try to create those V shapes. It's not super hard. I mean, you can play around with it, and there's a lot of different brushes that you can use. Slash brushes people use a lot. I just prefer using, you know, my standard stuff that I have down here. Yeah, not too hard, right? It's just a matter of actually playing with it enough to make it look and feel like the reference that you're using, or, you know, whatever you're going for in terms of wrinkles or folds. Wrinkles, you said wrinkles, but more so cloth folds, water, fur, hair. I think all of those fall into like the same general category for form, and they're all really similar. There's like slight differences between the two, but if you can sculpt one, I mean, a lot of those techniques I think are transferable between all those. Do polygroup and ZRemesh wrinkles too? It probably won't make sense, but I want to play around with it. It just depends. Kuchen Milk, I would say that, you know, instead of thinking about it, do you use this technique for this thing? I don't think about it that way. I don't think about how I sculpt fingers. I don't think about how I sculpt cloth. I don't think about how I sculpt folds. I don't think about how I sculpt fire truck. I don't think about how I would sculpt particular things. I essentially just have a set of tools that I use for everything, a set of techniques that I use for everything, and kind of, you know, every situation is different, and try to tackle each one as best as I can with what I have in my toolkit. So instead of, I would recommend trying to get out of the mindset of how do I sculpt like this particular thing, how do I sculpt a nose, how do I sculpt a hand, right? Instead of thinking about it that way, try to think about it like, how am I going to sculpt it with what tools I have available to me, with what tools I understand and know how to use. Because there's always a billion different ways to sculpt everything, and I rarely sculpt anything the exact same way twice. You know, they'll be similar because I'm using a lot of the same tools, but I try to do new things. I try to improve upon what I'm, you know, using. I try out new tools as well. Just trying to find, you know, what works best for me and how I can improve and grow upon what I'm doing. But yeah, try not to think about it in the headspace of how do I sculpt this particular thing. I sculpt pretty much everything exactly the same. It's like the same process. I'm gonna try leaning him backwards a little bit. See if this helps. I think I tried this earlier, and I wasn't super thrilled with the results. Wise words, writing it down. I don't know about wise words. I mean, it'll click for you at some point where you'll start kind of thinking that way as well. Once you probably get a little bit more comfortable working with your particular set of tools, it'll make more sense for you to start, tackling other things that way. If I ever say anything wise, it's typically on accident, so. Lamentio. It's coming along. Thanks for asking, dude. Here's the progress up to this point. I'm sitting here working on some of the shirt, a little bit of that transitional area towards the bottom here. But kind of at the same time trying to focus on making sure that my silhouette is reading properly, which right now it's like a little weird. Mainly this arm position is a little wonky. Let's go back here real fast. Whoa, that was weird. That is more so what I've been looking for a while. Get this like leaned back, shoulders back. weird. So this is just one, obviously, the one segment of the bandana around his neck. To get the other one, what I was planning on doing was using the body to extract it. So let me try doing that really fast. Or actually, here. Use my mask lasso, draw that shape out really quick. And clean it up here in the back. Doesn't really need to be super clean or perfect. Can adjust it after I'm done extracting it. Really like the way the shirt folds? Well, thanks. It's gonna be a lot better once we do some more work to it. Pun not intended? What pun did I miss? I must have missed a pun. I'm sorry. Or did I say a pun? I accidentally say puns all the time. My Laddick, welcome to the stream. Probably get asked this a lot, but best advice / tips for people who want to get into 3D art. It depends what you want to do. It really depends what you want to do. If you mean like 3D art in terms of 3D modeling, like what I do stuff for physical production. I mean, it just kind of depends what you want to do. But if you're interested in doing similar stuff to what I do for digital sculpting, I would recommend that you get the trial of ZBrush, or if you have already purchased it, or if you already have it, or whatever. I highly recommend people to get my How to ZBrush Absolute Beginner's Guide. It's a ZBrush quick start course. Comes with my brushes, my materials, some base meshes, some other stuff, project-based homework. It's a little over 2 hours of everything you need to know to get up and running in ZBrush for digital sculpting as quick as I could think of. I made this course because it's what I wish I had when I started off sculpting. I also have some other stuff in here, some other courses, base meshes, mannequins, materials, brushes. I think the curved brushes here are the most recent thing that I uploaded on there. I also have my YouTube channel with a ton of free content, tons of tutorials if you go into the playlist, tons of stuff showing off the process, going through the whole thing. But yes, that would be my recommendation of where to start. And then just hang out here on the streams, ask questions. I stream every day except for Sunday. Stream at noon Eastern US time. And then on Tuesdays, I also stream on the Pixelogic ZBrush channel, the creators of this software. I stream on their channel at 6 p.m. Eastern US. So that's my recommendation. If you want to do it professionally, if you're trying to make a career out of it, there's a lot that kind of goes into the considerations and mindset there in terms of like school and everything else. I don't know your specific story, but I'd be happy to elaborate more if you give me some specifics or have any other questions. We shall now adjust our scarf. That is too thick. Much too thick. I'm just gonna grab this guy here. That worked almost very well. The crap is that? What? Oh, okay. My brain just exploded for a moment. The normals are flipped on this, so I was like, what is happening here with this extrusion? Not that I meant to extrude that. My brain was not okay with that. Cheats. Cheat code activated. Just purely interested in 3D stuff. Right, yeah, I understand that, but maybe because you're a little bit newer, maybe don't understand what I'm saying. So within quote 3D stuff, there's a lot of different things that you can do professionally. You can do 3D modeling, which is what I do, and even within that category, kind of like a branching out, there's even more specific types of 3D modeling that you can do. You can be an animator, which is another one of those big like branching out categories. You could just be a prop artist, or you could want to get into doing character art, or you could be a professional rig artist. There's a lot of different things that you can do. Sounds like you're probably more interested in the modeling side of things based on what you said before of just 3D art. I thought you said that. Yes, 3D art. So, it sounds like maybe you're just more interested in the modeling side of things. But yeah, recommendations still stand of what I pointed out before. No puns yet. What are you going on about, Dan? Better watch it, bud. Better watch your back. The pun hammer or the pun hammer. Damn it! The ban hammer. The pun hammer. The pun hammer sounds much more scary. Alright, now I got that secondary plane here for this scurf. I can probably delete all of that. I think I will. Let's see, this edge here, this inner edge, it's like coming up a bit. So get a little bit of that directionality there. And I'm going to try to not break my brain here with an extrusion this time. Alright. Got the beginnings of our second piece for this scarf. Scarf? Bandana. Have I been saying scarf? I thought I said bandana earlier. And even really, doing something like this bandana is taking this a lot further than I would normally for a block out or for a mannequin. I think I kind of decided that I wanted to take this a little bit further. I'm not sculpting, or I don't plan on sculpting the entire character. I wasn't planning on it. We shall see, though. We'll see what we end up doing. I just want to create a really, really nice mannequin, though. Really nice block out. Do it. Take it all the way. We'll see, we'll see. It is an awesome design. Again, this illustration over here is done by Gopgap. If you guys don't follow Gappy, go check out his work over on ArtStation. Gob Gab is amazing. Yes, yes they are. Very good artist. We will see. I'm not making any promises on if we're going to take it all the way yet. 1 second. One moment here. Let me check on something really fast. But welcome all the new people. How you guys doing? Anybody working on anything cool today? Huh. Well, that's not good. Might be ending the stream here abruptly. I just got a notification on my phone that someone used my credit card for something. I was just checking to see what that was. So that's not good. I should probably take care of that. So we might be ending the stream a little abruptly here today. But we did get a lot done. And depending on what's going on here, I might jump on or back on in a little bit. But this is a little, probably a little important. Something I need to look into, take action on. Because obviously it wasn't me, because I'm not doing anything. It is not good. It is not good at all. Someone getting ramen noodles on your dime. I don't know about ramen noodles, but for those that are kind of just joining us and wondering what's going on, I've been doing some blockout characters. Here's one of them. Here's another one, an old lady. And now I'm doing a lanky boy, Android 17. Right here. I'm just still, you know, blocking stuff out, taking our time. But I'm gonna go figure out what's going on here with my credit card. I will really quick just shout out over on my Gumroad here, gumroad.com/Follygon. There's a link down below. I just mentioned this, so I won't say too much other than this is where I put a lot more work into some paid content, courses, materials, base meshes, all sorts of good stuff. I would appreciate it if you checked it out, gumroad.com/Follygon. And then all my streams and everything else get uploaded to my YouTube channel. So if you're coming in here a little bit late and miss something, it'll be uploaded on here shortly, as well as you know, every other stream that I've done and a ton of other tutorials, videos, and all sorts of other goodies. But I'm gonna go see what's going on here, and if it's not a big deal, if it's just something that I can take care of real quick, I'll hop back on. But I'll let you guys know. Thanks for coming in and hanging out, and I will see you guys tomorrow if this takes me a little bit longer than I think, at noon EST. I stream every day except for Sunday. Sharp Bite, thank you for the follow. Stream every day except for Sunday at noon EST, and then on Tuesdays I stream at noon and 6 p.m. EST on the Pixelogic ZBrush channel. So I will catch you guys later, and hopefully everything's cool here. Alright, see you guys.